Welcome to FrostCarbon's YouTube channel. We appreciate you stopping by today to learn more about the trillion-dollar energy shift nobody saw coming. Picture 1990. The first AOL discs are showing up in mailboxes. We heard,
You've got mail.
and suddenly every home and office starts plugging in computers and modems. Power strips became a hot commodity. Electricity demand climbs roughly 2% a year and keeps climbing for the next 15 years straight. Then by the mid-2000s, three things hit at once. Utilities started paying customers to use less power. Washington rolled out tough efficiency standards on everything from refrigerators to light bulbs. And American factories either moved overseas or figured out how to make more product with a lot less energy. By 2007, U.S. electricity demand had peaked. For the next 15 years, GDP kept rising while power consumption stayed flat. Economists called it decoupling. They swore it was permanent, and it wasn't. Fast forward to late 2022. ChatGPT lands, and by 2023, the AI wave really takes off. For context, a single Google search uses about 0.3 watt-hours. One ChatGPT query uses 2.9 watt-hours. Nearly 10 times the power for one question from one person. Now multiply that by hundreds of millions of queries every single day, across thousands of data centers. A few years ago, one data center pulled the equivalent power of 100,000 homes. Today, it's routine to see 300,000 homes worth of power. The biggest AI training facilities are running at 1.5 million homes each. That is why the forecasts are predicting record-breaking demand growth. Wells Fargo projected AI power demand would jump from 8 terawatt-hours in 2024 to 652 terawatt-hours by 2030, an 80-fold increase in just 6 years. For perspective, the entire U.S. grid produced 4,430 terawatt-hours in 2025. AI alone is on track to consume roughly 8% of the whole thing. Data centers can be built in 18 to 24 months, but powering them is the hard part. A new grid interconnection can take 4 or 5 years, and new gas plants are not instant either. So the question is not just, what can power AI? It is, what can deliver firm power at scale on the timeline AI requires? That is why natural gas is back in the conversation. Gas already provides about 40% of U.S. electricity. It runs around the clock. It is dispatchable. And it can scale in ways wind, solar, and batteries alone cannot. But gas without carbon capture just trades a power problem for an emissions problem. The real bridge is natural gas with carbon capture, built close to the load, close to gas supply, and close to CO2 transport or storage. That is how we power AI without waiting years for the grid, and without turning the AI boom into a carbon boom. Here are some examples. In January 2025, Chevron Engine No. 1 and GE Vernova announced they were developing up to 4 gigawatts of dedicated gas plants, wired directly to data centers, with turbines coming online by the end of 2027. 11 months later, NextEra Energy announced a 1.2 gigawatt gas plant built for the same purpose, and brought ExxonMobil in to handle carbon capture. Natural gas power plants solve the reliability problem. But there are side effects. These plants will emit carbon dioxide for decades. Capturing carbon at the source is an elegant solution, but that is exactly where the old approach falls short. Traditional carbon capture uses amine scrubbing. You spray a chemical solvent into the exhaust. The amine grabs the CO2, you heat everything back up to release it, and repeat. The problem is what escapes: small amounts of solvent vapor, aerosols, ammonia, aldehydes, compounds called nitrosamines and nitroamines, all leaving through vents, filters, and maintenance points you can't fully seal. So you end up bolting on extra scrubbers. And on top of that, each carbon capture project has historically been a major, stick-built, costly, time-consuming infrastructure project. So the numbers simply do not work when you need thousands of these systems in operation as soon as possible. That is the gap FrostCarbon was built to close. FrostCarbon was created for this exact moment. The FrostCC technology is cryogenic carbon capture, engineered for natural gas power plants. Instead of finicky chemical solvents, it uses fundamentally predictable physics in 3 clean steps: compress, frost, melt. Exhaust gas is compressed and cooled until the carbon dioxide freezes right out of the stream. Then it is melted into liquid CO2 that is pipeline ready for storage or industrial use. No solvents. And a surprising benefit, FrostCC produces water. We can actually lessen a power plant's water burden on the community rather than adding to it. The design is standardized and fully modular. Every FrostCC unit for gas power is built around a repeatable, standardized model, so the core engineering is done once, and the hardware can be stamped out at scale. Wright's law kicks in. Scale does what scale does. Costs drop with cumulative, repeatable production. FrostCC could be the lowest cost carbon capture technology available, and it works from the low CO2 concentrations of a gas power plant, all the way up to the higher concentrations in cement and steel production. FrostCC has already logged more than 1,000 hours of validated operation at the U.S. Department of Energy's National Carbon Capture Center. The FrostCC solution? A natural gas power plant that delivers firm, clean, around-the-clock electricity, exactly what AI data centers need, with the carbon captured before it ever reaches the atmosphere. AI just triggered the largest electricity build-out in a generation. Natural gas is powering the surge. FrostCarbon is making sure the carbon does not reach our atmosphere. Check it out at FrostCarbon.com, because the future is not waiting for some perfect clean tech storybook ending. It is here right now, and FrostCC is ready to make it actually work. If you want to follow what's next at FrostCarbon, our commercial demo, the AI-accelerated design work, and whatever the next scale-up teaches us, please subscribe. That's what this channel is for.